Alrighty, so hitting this a little bit later. Workday got all changed up. Guys are now training 2 a day, so my schedule is all over the place. Which honestly, like it a lot better because now at work for a total of 10.5 hours, which means I get a 2.5 hour break midday. Get my lift done, get my cardio done, get my shower all done, eat, and then boom, right back at it. So already got my hour of cardio in on the bike. By noon, I was at 8,500 calories, and Garmin tracks like active calories, whatever the hell that means. Was at 1,000 for the day, or by noon. 1,000 is usually my goal across the entire day. So I'm in a really good place to get this cut going even better. But with all that, posted about RDLs earlier, was going to go on a rant about that, but I think we're going to save that for tomorrow, and we are going to talk about just fucking movement. So their second workout today was more or less yoga. We call it recharge. It's basically yoga. So did that, and really like going through that, feeling a bunch of different positions. It's like, shit, like I haven't felt this muscle in ages. Like, oh, fuck. Just kind of like that internal knowledge of like, hey, we're holding this stretch. All right, I feel like I just want to rock around a little bit, explore some new movement. That's what we're doing. And that got me thinking of like, hey, here's what I've been doing with the intro to my program already. It was just finding a bunch of movement, getting just awareness of our bodies, and then just kind of, again, getting that childlike curiosity, that childlike play again. So the big idea here that I wanted to touch on was just the fact that today's stuff, everything we have going on, we are so out of touch with our body. And like Whoop was my example of that. Like, we are so fucking out of touch with how we feel. We need a watch that isn't even accurate by any stretch of the imagination to tell us how good we're feeling, to tell us if we need to back off training, to tell us if we need to push harder that day. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. In all of my programs, I have this little auto-regulation tracker. So throughout your every single session, you can then mark above average, below average, above average, average, on top of the world, feeling like shit. It will then automatically change what percentage you're lifting between 10% down and 10% up, typically 5 down or 5 up, or just keeping it right where you're at. I have one athlete who just is so disconnected from her body. She's also just stubborn as shit, so she doesn't want to change it, but also was relying on just her straight Whoop data every time. Like, oh, Whoop says I'm not recovered, so I'm going to drop it down. Whoop says I'm feeling good, let's do it. And then she just would then get frustrated because her auto-regulation was completely off that day. Like, Whoop said she was feeling like crap, but she felt great, and like that workout was way too fucking easy. Or her Whoop said she was feeling terrible and she was feeling absolutely wonderful, or vice versa, and you get the picture. But being so fucking disconnected from our bodies, we can't tell when we're feeling good. We need some little external fucking watch thing to tell us, oh, hey, you can train today. Oh, hey, you can't. Which is like, their metrics are like all kind of made up anyway. Like, what the fuck is a 21 strain score? If you can never reach 21, like, what? That's such an arbitrary number. Like, what does any of it even mean? Then you can get into the facts, like how much does HRV even play a role in weightlifting performance, which it's really more of an endurance factor. Lots of different things, but I do like the idea of trying to objectify fitness and trying to objectify how you're feeling, just to take those emotions out of it. But there's a certain point where we try to objectify data and objectify things so much that we just completely lose touch and we don't even become people anymore. We just are these fucking cyborgs walking around with our phone inserted into our body, that Whoop on our body at all fucking time of day. We really need to just, that's a lot of what I try to instill in my athletes is, yeah, we have all these objective metrics, but also, like, how the fuck are you feeling? Like, you feeling good? Like, 90% of weightlifting is just the mental. Like, you can't just offshore your subjectiveness into that objective marker for 15 weeks of a training cycle, and then come meet day, you don't have your Whoop because you're fucking competing, And you're like, fuck, I'm falling apart. Well, yeah, it's because you just spent 15 weeks ignoring every single feeling and every single subjective matter you have. And then now, when you actually have to face the truth, you can't fucking avoid it anymore. Crazy, look at that. So there is a need to have some objective markers. Like I track relative intensity, I track rep count, I track that average markers over time, I track your personal rating of your sleep, fatigue, nutrition, stress for the week, all that jazz. But really, at the end of the day, I am more concerned with your subjective ratings than the objective scale. Like obviously, if I see that, oh, hey, our relative intensity on our list just went up by 15%, I'm like, yeah, fuck, I put in a typo somewhere. Like, we obviously need to take that back, or I just really overestimated what I was writing, and I need to take that back. So I really like the idea of having those objective markers, but really using those objective markers kind of like the little safety guidelines on the bowling. I forgot what they're fucking called, but really like using our objective markers to keep us in a specific lane, and then those subjective markers allowing us to maneuver within those lanes. So we are on a fucking 3-lane highway. The objective markers are the shoulder. There's only so far out either direction we can go. But those subjective markers are lane change. Like in this fucking right lane right now, people are going fast. All right, cool. I'm fine staying in this lane. I am meeting exactly the speed at which I want to go. But fuck, you're driving cross country sometimes, because that's really all we do when we travel is drive. If it's less than, hell, we drove 21 hours to Nebraska and then another 21 back. So really, like, I'll drive anything less than a day. But sometimes you're stuck in that right lane and it's like, fuck, all right, I want to lay on the fucking gas. I need to swerve into that middle lane, swerve into that left lane, and really just fucking go. So I actually like that analogy a lot. So our objective markers are the shoulder. It's going to dictate whether we're in that 1, 2, 3 lane plus highway. And our subjective markers are going to guide us on really how fast, how much of the gas we are putting on, how quick we are going to make it from point A to point B. And it's not a linear route. It's not like we can just hop in the left lane every single day and fucking floor it. Like, eventually, your car's going to give out, your body's going to give out. There are obviously going to be some days where we spend an entire week, maybe even, in that right lane. We're going the speed limit. Like, we're holding up traffic because everyone's going 80 around us, but fuck it. We don't care what everyone else is doing. I really like where this analogy is progressing, honestly. Sometimes there's going to be days, again, you're in that right lane, we're in that below average. Some days we're in that middle lane, we're at the average. Some days we're in that top lane, we're at that above average. But really, like, again, objective markers, rep count, where are we at? All right, we've got our boundaries right and left. Relative intensity, we got our boundaries right and left. Absolute intensity, we got our boundaries right and left. Other shit like that. Like maybe you do jump data. I do jump data on my Army competitors. I'm not sure how applicable that actually is. We will see at the end of the season, base it on placing, and then really run an analysis on that to see how effective it is as a tool. Maybe you do that. Maybe you do VBT. Maybe you do a bunch of other shit. I don't use that. I also don't have access to VBT, so that's part of it. But never really been a huge live or die by it. But then that subjective data. All right, how am I feeling today? Like, do I feel like shit? Have I just gotten kicked in the ass the entire day at work? Do I need to take a step back? So allowing us to then finally maneuver in between those guidelines. And I think I'm kind of just killing this metaphor to death now, but your objective measurements should not be what you live or die by. You need to learn. Everyone needs to learn. Like, no one knows how they fucking feel anymore. We're all nose deep in TikTok, 10 hours a fucking day. People ask how you feel. You're like, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm good. I'm okay. Because we don't know how we fucking feel, because no one ever takes the time to actually sit with themselves. Everyone is scared of silence. Everyone is scared to actually be with themselves. That's part of, like, one of the real benefits of putting content out, kind of like I talked about yesterday, is you got to sit with your ideas. You got to be vulnerable. You got to put yourself out there to the world. And it is a really big kind of just look inward on what you're saying and shit. Like, I fucked up. Shit, I really like that. Like my metaphor, I really fucking like that. I'm going to use it. I'm probably going to send this to all my athletes at as like, hey, like this is kind of like my ideas. Here's kind of how we're using objective and subjective data. Added benefit there is my thoughts go straight to my athletes. So boom, they know exactly what we're doing and why. But yeah, don't get so hung up on the objective measurements. Objective measurements are going to guide you on the path. It is your I'm at a loss for another metaphor. I was gonna say it's like your fucking trail map, and your subjective is your GPS or some bullshit like that. I don't know. I've lost it on metaphors, but start to learn your body. Work through some movements, really feel muscles. Like that's a lot of what my warm-ups have been, is being able to find your center of mass, feel your body moving in space, being able to control yourself. Like today, before my power snatches and bench press, I did some depth drops. So I did some depth drops, and then I did depth drop, immediately land into broad jump, and then depth drop into vertical jump into broad jump. Each of those landings was different. Like, fuck the snap down. I'm not going down to that perfect landing position every time, because that's not just how fucking life is in anything. I'm landing slightly different every time. So I'm landing slightly different, have to then reorient myself, find a new movement pattern to then execute the task at hand. That's really all my warm-ups have become, and they're really not warm-ups. It's kind of like movement prep, plyometrics, shit like that. But a lot of stuff is like feeling your body, really understanding how to move your body in space, how to apply and resist force in different ways. And that's really beneficial for like yourself, but also just like sitting in silence, sitting with your thoughts, going through your thoughts, letting your thoughts be known, putting them out there, and really just like, again, understanding yourself, your mental, your body. One thing, like Apple came out with that journal app now, so I started journaling again. So I have a daily practice every day at noon. I get a notification, hey, write in your journal, and especially during this cut, has been beneficial because now I'm really having to put my thoughts into words. It's not just I sit here like, fuck, I'm hungry, fuck, I'm hungry, fuck, I'm hungry, fuck, I don't want to go do cardio, fuck, I hate this, fuck, I want to go eat fucking 6 crumble cookies. Or we went to a party the day, I want to eat that entire thing of cake, I want to eat all those brownies, I want to eat this entire platter of cookies. You get the idea. I really, I don't have self-control. But sitting there, putting my thoughts down, all right, shit, I have more self-control. I am okay. Get the fuck out of that lane, dipshit. God, benefit of seeing my driving, you get to watch drivers coming directly at me and not in their fucking lane, almost getting in a wreck in my neighborhood. But yeah, putting your thoughts onto paper and really like coming to peace with them. Because again, mental is going to be 90% of the game. So you got to learn your body, because once the game day actually comes, if you're a weightlifter, if you're whatever sport you are, when game day comes, your data doesn't fucking matter. You don't have your GPS data. You don't have your Whoop data anymore. You have to know how you feel, and you have to be able to execute. And if you have spent your entire life, your entire training sessions, your entire prep up to competition or game day, whatever it may be, spent that entire time avoiding and outsourcing how you feel and outsourcing all of that jazz to something else, you're going to be at a disservice, and you're going to have a higher chance of failure come game day. So I've beaten that horse to death on that metaphor. Again, I really like that metaphor. That's what we got for the day.